I'm going to give you 3 seconds to name the best hitter in baseball over the last 5 years. 1, 2, Aaron Judge. I know what you said. I know you said it before I even finished counting. I know you said it probably before I started counting. Now, what if I told you that his contract was less than half? Less than half. He's making less than half the money of Juan Soto. And what if I told you this was all the result of a perfect storm between Shohei Ohtani and the richest owner at MLB? Because it is, and I'm going to explain to you right now. This is a Hold My Ball podcast. Let's talk about it. All right, this story starts in 2022, and Aaron Judge is about to turn in the greatest free agency year of all time. Of all time. He plays well, he gets a big contract. He doesn't play well, he still gets a really good contract, just maybe not as good as it would have been. This dude goes out, puts his nuts on the line and says, let's go. AL MVP, 62 jacks, led the MLB in runs, RBIs, and walks, hit .311 with a .425 OBP, a .686 slugging, and a 1.111 OPS, and finished with a 10.8 WAR. I don't really care about WAR, you guys know that, but in this case, it truly shows what he did going into a contract year. What does he do? He enters free agency. He signs with the Yankees for 9 years, $360 million, which at the time seemed like a pretty good deal. However, this is the greatest hitter that we've ever seen, possibly right-handed. I know there's a lot of people out there that look at different things, but if you look at a lot of stats and numbers on that whole thing, he's literally like only behind like Roger Hornsby or something who played 100 years ago. Like Judge as a right-handed hitter is, it's him, and then current active right now when we're talking contracts and what people are getting, there's nobody close in today's game when it comes to the kind of hitter that he is. He hits for average. He hits for power. He's undeniably better than everybody else, right? So he signs for $360 million, 9 years, which the craziest thing about this is the Yankees also signed Garrett Cole a couple of years before that for 9 years, $324 million. Make that make sense. That's crazy. I don't mind Garrett Cole getting that, but if you're going to give that to Garrett Cole, how the fuck do you give Aaron Judge the same thing? What are you doing? That's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy. So now we look at this. Here's where this whole thing I think gets fun, right? Ohtani, the following year in 2023, he becomes a free agent after that year, right? What does he do? Same thing Aaron Judge does. He wins the MVP unanimously. And he's with the Angels at the time. So he's in the same league as Aaron Judge. Wins it unanimously. Now, here's the thing. Numbers are circulating, right? Could be a $400 or $500 million deal. $500 million would be crazy. 400, that's a lot. But man, he's certainly going to set the record. Highest pay, right? Ludicrous to even think about $500 million for a guy. That's crazy. And then the news breaks all of a sudden. Bam. 10 years, $700 million. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody. Never seen anything like it. Don't understand it. $700 million. You're going to pay a baseball player $700 million? Yeah. Dodgers are going to do that. And everybody freaks out about this number. And then they kind of calm down. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to defer $68 million a year. He's really going to make $2 million a year. And then after he's done playing for 10 years at $2 million a year, then we're going to start paying him the 68 down the road. Everybody's losing their mind. This is insane. This is absolutely insane, right? But here's what happens. Does it matter? What is $680 million for the Dodgers when before Ohtani in 2023, the Dodgers' value as a team, $4.8 billion. That's what the Dodgers were worth. At the end of 2023, before they got Ohtani, they were worth $4.8 billion. After 24 months of having Ohtani on the Dodgers, 2 years, The Dodgers $4.8 billion that they were valued at, that they are worth in 2 years, in 24 months, has now increased to $6.9 billion. And the Dodgers became this year in 2025 the first to reach $1 billion in revenue in one season. And on top of it, don't forget, Ohtani's won 2 MVPs in that time, and he's won 2 World Series with the Dodgers in that time. So does Ohtani bring his value? Yes, because the only kind of $700 million contract that would ever make sense in any world, is the kind that comes with on-field play. Obviously, you're very good, and what you bring there matters. But to pay you $700 million, to pay you $70 million a year, you better be bringing some money in somewhere for this organization, because this is a business at the end of the day. And there's not a soul on this planet worth $70 million in one baseball season strictly for what they do on the field. There's not one. I don't care who it is. I don't care what they do. There's not a single person worth $70 million to go play baseball. There's just not. But when you bring Japan with you, and you bring that culture, and you bring those fans, that's how you get a guy for $700 million. And then all of a sudden it feels like a bargain when 2 years into his contract, you pay him $700 million, and your organization is in 2 years worth $2.1 billion more than it was before he got there. Makes perfect sense. And you got 2 world championships out of it, and he's been an MVP twice in a row for you. Does it get any better than that? I don't think it does. I really don't. The Ohtani effect is as real and as much of a guarantee as any bet a translator can make. I mean, it's as real as any bet anybody can make. It's as much of a shoe-in. It's as much of a sure thing. Betting on Ohtani to bring you money is as much of a sure thing as you could possibly look for. That's as simple as that. And now, to the point of this conversation, here's how I think Ohtani screwed the Mets. Because right now, the Mets, no matter who you ask, it's not looking great. I'll tell you that. But here's what happens. Aaron Judge sets the standard, 9 years, $360 million for the best hitter this game has seen in the last 20 years. Since Bonds. And really, if you add up a lefty and a righty, best lefty hitter ever, probably Bonds. Well, I shouldn't say probably. I'm going to flip that over. Best hitter ever, absolutely Barry Bonds, lefty. Best right-handed hitter, probably Aaron Judge. He's pretty darn good. And I grew up watching Pujols and all those guys, and I know Judge has got a ways to go. But what he's done in the last 4 or 5 years, consistently hitting for average, hitting for bombs, undeniably the best. There's nobody close to him. So here's what happens. He gets a nice contract. He's happy. He wants to win. Then Ohtani goes for $700 million the next season. 700. And now here comes Mr. Juan Soto. Juan Soto comes into his year, just like these other 2 guys did. Aaron Judge puts up a phenomenal year, gets paid. Shohei Ohtani, phenomenal year, gets paid. Now we got the largest contract in history to Ohtani. Introduce you, my friend, to the richest owner in all of baseball, Mr. Steve Cohen, worth $21.3 billion. Now you throw in the Yankees, Juan Soto, and the Yankees part is important because they're from New York, and Steve Cohen owns the New York Mets. And that is very important because when you have a billionaire worth $21 billion and his rival team is the New York Yankees, he's going to do something stupid. And I'm going to tell you what happens. Yankees, Juan Soto comes off the same year as Judge and Ohtani, an incredible free agency campaign. He dominated. He absolutely dominated. He looked like he was going to be worth every penny of whatever he signs for. Problem with Juan Soto is he doesn't care about anybody else. He cares about himself. He was 19 years old, won his first World Series, got it, said, I'm good. I got that for my legacy. Now I care about one thing, and that's my pockets being filled with as much cash as possible. He went from the Nationals to the Padres, from the Padres to the Yankees, from the Yankees to the Mets. All 3 stops, all those stops in between were just 1 year, let me go get mine and let me make as much money as possible in this game. Can't fault him for it. Don't mind. But that guy and Ohtani and Steve Cohen It's the perfect storm. It's the perfect storm for the other team from New York and their richest owner in baseball. This is like destiny. So Juan Soto won a World Series in 2019. Good. Got mine. Let me go get paid. Here's the thing. Juan Soto, as I said earlier, Shohei Ohtani is the only guy that makes sense for a $700 million contract. Juan Soto, on the other hand, he's from the Dominican Republic. Different story than coming from Japan. They're big baseball people, yes, but Juan Soto is not Shohei Ohtani. And fans in the Dominican are not nearly as loyal or willing or able, truthfully, to spend the money to support their superstars as the Japanese culture is. That's just the bottom line. So you're not getting the extra money from Juan Soto outside of the game. So whatever you're about to pay this dude, you're about to pay him to strictly play baseball. That's it. That's all you're doing. And what do the Mets do? What does Steve Cohen do? What does the richest owner in the MLB do? He looks at the Yankees. He looks at his own team. He says, I'm a 21.9 billionaire. I'm going to get him no matter what. And Shohei Ohtani just got paid $700 million. And Juan Soto and his agent, Scott Boras, are over here saying, we want the largest AAV ever. We want the most money ever. Okay, yeah, sure. He's worth whatever Ohtani was worth, right? No, hell no. What do they give him? They give him 15 years, which is comical. 15 years, $765 million contract. That's going to take him, listen close, through the 2039 season. The 2039 season, Juan Soto will be getting paid a whole bunch of money by the Mets in the 2039 MLB season. If that is not one of the funniest things and stupidest contracts I've ever seen in my life, I don't know what is. But does it make sense? Let's take a quick look. Let's just take a look. In his first season, the Mets' value increased. They were worth $3 billion before Juan Soto got there. And in one season, they went from $3 billion value to $3.2 billion. So that's $200 million that they've increased, as opposed to the Dodgers' $850 million increase after Ohtani's first season. A little different, which, as I said earlier, turned into a $1.5 billion increase in Ohtani's second season. Will Juan Soto bring $1.5 billion to the value of the Mets in 2026? Doubtful. Therein lies the problem, ladies and gentlemen. That's the problem. Ohtani was paid to perform on and off the field, and he's done both on a greater scale than I think anyone expected, considering the $2.1 billion value increase and 2 world championships and 2 MVPs he's brought to the Dodgers in his first 2 seasons. Well, Juan Soto, the guy making over double what Aaron Judge, the greatest hitter in the game, is making, and also plays right field like Aaron Judge, who Soto is known for being a bad right fielder. They try to spin it like he's good. I don't know why he's not. He's just not. Aaron Judge is 50-50. A lot of people think he's good. A lot of people think he's not. I'm one of the guys that thinks it's right field. Who gives a shit? It's the easiest spot on the field. Your job is to hit. And that's what Aaron Judge does. It's what he does. So when I look at this, do we see this happening? Shohei Ohtani comes to the Dodgers, kicks up their value by over $2 billion. $2.4 billion. Wins 2 World Series with them. Wins an MVP in both years. And then we get Juan Soto. What does he do? He goes to the Mets. He gets paid $76 million. He defers none of it because he doesn't care about building a team. He doesn't care about the bankroll. He cares about his. He doesn't defer any so we can get some better players and do all that. No, not me. Give me my pay. For 15 years, I want it all right now. Let's do that. So they do. What do? They miss playoffs in what is arguably probably the worst disappointment in Mets baseball recent history of what's expected out of a season and then what comes out of the season. This has to be one of the worst. Now, after the Dodgers, here's where things get fun. After the Dodgers won the World Series in Ohtani's first season, They follow it up by that offseason. They sign, they had Yamamoto. They signed Blake Snell. They signed Tyler Glasnow. They signed Roki Sasaki. They take Tanner Scott, among a few other guys. It wasn't fair. People said, what the fuck? What's happening? How's this possible? They're ruining baseball, which is hilarious. But what do? They go back to back, right? They go back to back. And the reason these players all went there because they wanted to play for the Dodgers. They wanted to play for them. This offseason, Dodgers pick up Edwin Diaz from the Mets. What do you know? 3 years, $69 million. The Mets told Diaz, hey, whatever they offer, we'll offer more. We'll make a better offer. We'll match it or do it better. You've been here 6-7 years. Like, you're our guy. Whatever they offer, come tell us, and I'll counter it. Cohen will counter it. He gets that 3 years, $69 million, and just doesn't even go back to the Mets to tell him. He just says, I'm in. Sign me up. I want out of New York. I want out of New York. Because that's what the Dodgers have built right now. They pull the best closer in the game away from his team, and he doesn't even go back to him and push the money issue. The Dodgers have reached a point where they can get the best players for less because they're attractive from top to bottom, and the best players want to be there. It's the result of building something over the last 10 years that has been capped off by the arrival of Ohtani and the stars to follow, mixed with the best front office and staff leadership in the game, if you ask me. And I don't even think it's close. I think the Dodgers are setting the standard of what Major League Baseball needs to be in order to be successful moving forward. I just think everybody's looking at them going, yeah, that sucks for us, but they're doing a really good job everywhere. How do we compete? Let's find a way to compete. That was a pretty good first off season for the Dodgers when they had Ohtani. They built a super team. What the Mets do? What have the Mets done so far? This right now, we currently just finished winter meetings. We're looking at what's happening. How'd the Mets' first offseason go after signing Soto go? Ask a Mets fan. They'll tell you as soon as they're done burning their Mets gear in the fire pit. As soon as they're done doing that, they'll tell you, not great, not good. You know what I mean? First, we got Simeon, an aging infielder coming off a terrible year. Then they signed Polanco. To what it sounds like. I mean, I love that guy. But he's an infielder, and they may use him as a DH/first baseman, which he's played a grand total of 1 inning in his career. That's what they're going to do? And then you're like, why first base? Why would they put him there? That's Polar Pete's position. Correct. For the Orioles. That's because the Mets just let him go. Fan favorite. Everybody loves him. Surely they will hate us if we let him go. Don't care. See you later, Pete. Have fun over there in Baltimore. Don't even make an attempt to keep him. And Pete was out last year. He was already out last offseason when they decided we're going to go all in on Juan Soto and we'll put Pete on the back burner. And then at the very end of the year, we'll see if nobody's taking him, we'll just get him for cheap or whatever his contract currently is, another year, see what happens. Pete said, I'm out. I've given you guys everything. You treat me like this, I'm out. And he played another year and got out the first chance he could. He's going to Baltimore, which I really like over there for him. Now, they also lose their best closer in Edwin Diaz. We just talked about it. It's crazy. Now, the Mets, by all viewpoints, no matter who you are in a terrible position. This has been a horrible start to the offseason. Do I think Cohen has plans for them? Yes, I do. Do I think he's going to get guys that make everybody go, oh, yeah, okay, cool. We're good. Let's do it. I do. But do I think the Mets are smart? Absolutely not. I do not think the Mets are a smart team. Watching them sign Juan Soto for $765 million immediately told me all I need to know about the Mets. And what do you know? You got Francisco Lindor. You hear the stories. Padres, they didn't really get along with Soto much. Machado, not so much. Tatis, wasn't a big clubhouse guy. They didn't really love him there. Goes to New York, gets to the offseason. Few weeks in, Yankees, no, haven't talked to Juan Soto. Haven't heard from him. Don't care to reach out to him. The judge, the captain, no, I haven't talked to him. Don't really care if he comes back. That was the sentiment. You didn't learn anything from that Mets. Now what happens? He spends one season there. He comes in and actively just tells everybody, hey, look, not a big clubhouse guy, not a big hangout and party and do all that stuff with everybody. I'm not really trying to like be here more than I want to be. I'm trying to be here. I'm trying to get my work in. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to play well. And I'm trying to get out of here and go hang with my family. Don't expect me to just be around in this clubhouse all the time if I don't have to. Those are the reports. I'm not going to say that's true or false, but those are the reports. And it sounds pretty accurate to me. That's the guy you're paying $765 million to. You pay $700 to Ohtani, and look what happens. People want to be there because he's the man, and he's on and off the field. He's this personality that's larger than life, and he's respective of everybody. He seems to be an amazing teammate, a guy you want to play with. $700 million, worth it on the field, worth it off the field. Worth it from a winning standpoint, building this culture standpoint, and worth it from a financial standpoint, business-wise, off the field. Juan Soto getting paid more than Ohtani, $765 million. In my opinion, I'll tell you what, if you are a guy that gets paid $765 million, you're a guy that is obligated to build the culture, be in there. 15 years, you're the team. Be in that clubhouse. Guide the young guys. You are a young guy that can relate to these young guys because you were doing what they were doing before when you were 19. How valuable are you to a 22, 23-year-old when you're 27 and you can go, hey, man, look, I was there. I know how it is. Let's talk. Just be around. Be the guy. $750 million. A team has to have an identity. It has to have a culture. When I think right now of teams that I like that have good culture, that you can look at them and go, yeah, this is who they are. I think of the Tigers. I think of the Blue Jays. I think of like the Mariners. You could see what they were all about in the playoffs. I think of the Dodgers, obviously, who doesn't? Cleveland, the Brewers. Those teams knew who they were. They knew what they were building. They have a culture. You can easily identify them as a team. What do teams like the Mets identify? What do you see in them? What do you see in the Padres besides a bunch of superstars that don't know how to win? The Yankees, same. What's their culture? I don't know. The Phillies, I love them, but what exactly is their culture the last year or two? Bunch of good players. What is their culture? Just kind of there? It's hard. It's hard to define. I'll tell you what. What do they have in the way of success recently, those teams? If you ask them, the answer is nothing. I bet they all say nothing. So it does beg the question, if is anyone worth $765 million if all they're bringing to that team is their on-field play? Is anybody worth it?